that punk rocker. I think we're good to go. Okay. Yeah, it has been a week. Anyway, so like, I don't know how many years ago it was. Oops, but it was a lot of years ago. They all just keep adding up. I was up on the Trinity River fishing for steelhead at the time, like you do on the Trinity. And there's a fly shop up there called, get this, and this is going to be crazy, Trinity Fly Shop. And they have a bunch of flies that they tie, in-house. It's kind of a family-owned situation. And they tie their own flies. And they have this fly called punk rocker. And it's a Callibaetis emerger, or Callibaetis, it could be a dry. And I've never kind of seen, I've seen flies that are kind of like it, but never anything like, kind of like it, And I bought a bunch of them when I was there, and they just killed everything I could ever think of to catch on these flies. I caught on these flies, tons of trout, steelhead will eat them, whatever. I think they'd probably be really good in still water, although I haven't tried them, but I have a great deal of luck on them, and I've been fishing them recently because I finally ran out. I finally ran out of my supply of punk rocker flies from the Trinity Fly Shop. So I'm going to show you in the video. I'll show you what the one left that I have looks like. And that one's actually a little bit different. But so I was like, well, I don't have any more of these. I got to find some more or figure out how to tie them. And so I looked on the YouTube thing. And don't worry, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. So just bear with me. So I looked on YouTube and I found this old school video. And I'll show a little clip of it. But it's old school video from the Trinity Fly Shop, and they have like 4 videos on their YouTube channel. And one of them is this punk rocker. So I thought, all right, I'm going to try to tie this fly, and I'm going to kind of try to, do it the way I do it and modernize the video in terms of like just the way it looks. And I know my close-up videos are not great, but because I don't have a macro lens, it's just my iPhone. But I thought, why not? Let's give it a try and see. So I've been tying these flies, and they've been working pretty well. And I'll show some footage of that if I haven't already in the video. And then I thought, why not do a video on how to tie this punk rocker, because it's been such a great fly for me over the years. I literally bought like a dozen of them from the Trinity Fly Shop, and then I've gone through them all. So I'm tying this fly based on just kind of looking at and trying to reverse engineer the one left that I have, which is actually a little different than the video. And then I've been trying to tie them based on the video too. So this is kind of what I've come up with based on all of that and just tweaking it. And I'll talk about modifications, of course. But this is the punk rocker fly. So I've got a dry fly. It's a size 12 dry fly hook in the vise. I think this is a Hanak. I don't know, whatever. Hook, just because that's what I happen to have, but you can use your whatever favorite dry fly hook you want. This happens to be black thread. This happens to be uni, what is it, 6/0, but whatever, use whatever you want, 6, 8/0, uni, Vivas, UTC, whatever, it doesn't matter. Use your favorite thread, use your favorite dry fly hook. And then here I'm going to be tying in first some Lady Amherst. The video calls for olive green. I haven't been able to find olive green. I've found this kind of bright green. Whatever, doesn't matter. It'll work. I think I have some white somewhere. I'm using this. This is the neck, Lady Amherst. You could also use the tail. I have some of that. I haven't found that there's a noticeable difference. I think you'll see, I think this acts kind of like a keel. And I actually plan to do some tying, tie these flies with some ring neck pheasant fibers, because I think that might act as a keel more, because this fly, you'll see it should kind of, float this way up. I'll show you. I'll get there. All right, anyway. So this, measured out should be about the shank of the hook. So I've got some thread started. It's going to tie that in the top of the hook. Always better if you could not suck. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So I just continue to suck. Also, I have to like move my magnifying light away so that you don't see nothing but that light. And the old Vision, she just ain't what she used to, so this is tough. Okay, so I've got my tail feathers tied in, and then I'm going to advance my thread to right about, there-ish. So the original recipe that's on the video, and I'm going to put a link to the video in the description, calls for comparadum. It calls for olive, or no, it doesn't. It calls for natural comparadum. Comparadum hair. So this is this. I'm going to use that for this fly just because it works a little bit better. But I've also been thinking of tying it with some colors just so that it's like more of a cider. Because sometimes it can be hard to see. So that's another option too. I don't know if it matters or not. I'll do some experimentation if I have time and let you know if it works. So we're going to take some comparadum hair, less than a pencil. I'd say like way less than a pencil, like maybe half a pencil, if that. If anybody remembers what a pencil is like, they're pretty chunky pencils. So that goes over there. So I've got my clump of comparadum. Just gonna clean that up a bit. Get out all the little shovities. See if I can't find my hair stacker. It was here a minute ago. Like many anglers, I suffer from a just horrific case of ADHD, and everything's always a mess. Hair stacking, done. Okay, turn it sideways, turn it out. Look at the tips are so nicely aligned. Grab them by the tips. Okay, so getting this right has been the most challenging thing of tying these flies. When I look at the video, when I watch the video, I think she's got about like a hook shank and leg sticking out. But this is the hardest thing, this part, measuring this out. Sometimes I'll tie this fly and they'll end up being super short like that. So measuring them out and figuring out where you want to tie them in is kind of important. So I'm kind of cheating and erring on the side of tying them a little long. But that's just something to consider, play with it, see how you like it. So the way I'm doing this, I'm going to do a pinch wrap just around this bundle because I don't want the bundle to come apart. And then I'm going to go back and then I'm going to kind of bring it down and then I'm going to snug it up. And these first few wraps should be loose. You don't want this deer hair to flare too much. And then as you work back, see, that's already flaring kind of too much. So we're going to have to fix that later. And then as you work back, you can snug it down. And I'm still hanging on to it because this will spin like the dickens on you. Trust me. Okay, so I've got that. I'm not letting go. I'm going to try to let my Lady Amherst go. So, okay. Okay. Anybody who works with deer hair, this is the way to keep it from spinning, is go through the ends of it and wrap through that, and that'll help keep it from spinning. And don't worry if it isn't perfectly cleaned up and smooth because you're going to cover it up with dubbing. And then we're going to fix this part up here. This is, ultimately, we're going to want this to kind of stick out a little bit straighter. So what we'll do is we'll first pull this back and post it up just a little bit, a few wraps here. Okay, and then come back around it. Try not to destroy your tail in the process. Okay. It'll get cleaned up. Trust me. Trust me. Okay. So now we're going to use rabbit. I'm going to go, since I'm using black thread, I'm going to go with black. Just going to dub that on there. Eventually it's going to get pretty thick. And you could use other dubbing for this, but you want to use something that's going to get sodden. and it's going to sink. And so the idea of this fly, as it was explained to me by the Trinity Fly Shop, is that you want the hair, you only put floating on the hair. And you want the hair to float, and you want the rest of it to sink. So it's riding this way, kind of in the water, like an emerger in that surface film. So that's the idea. Okay. Make a bit of a taper. They do it in the video. They dub it from a pod. I've never seen or done that before, which doesn't really say a whole lot other than learning new things is hard, and I haven't actually tried it because this works for me. But if you wanted to be true to the original recipe, you could watch how they do it in that video. And they she kind of pulls out a big wad of rabbit and then, makes it up a little tight and uses that as a tie-in, ties that in, wraps it around, and then pulls the rest of the bundle down and dubs it along the thread. Why not, So, okay, so when we get to here with the dubbing, I'm going to start wrapping up and trying to force those fibers forward a little bit. See that? I hope you can see that. So they're not going to go straight up like your kind of classic Callibaetis dry fly emerger. There's kind of a class or category or subset or something of Callibaetis emerger flies that do that. They have the hair or whatever it is that comes forward like this. I really like them. Okay, so I've got that there. I'm just gonna go around a little bit. Hopefully I'm not covering up my hook eye. I can't see it because my vision sucks. That's it. I did that, and now I'm just gonna whip finish. Poorly. Get out of there. Might not be the best knot in the world, but that's okay. Trim it off. And that's it. And so, like I say, when you fish it, take your silicone floatant or whatever you're going to use. I guess you could use liquid too, and just give it a, like you're giving it a little swirly, and just treat or dress this top part and not the rabbit. And the rabbit, as you fish it, will get sodden and will start to sink. And hopefully that floating in the air, in the deer hair itself, will keep it upright. And it'll float that way. And this fly is awesome. It's killer. So there's your Callibaetis punk rocker. Check out the original video, Trinity Fly Shop. They don't have a huge YouTube presence or online presence. I don't know if you know about Trinity, but it's basically Oklahoma, the mountains. God bless them. But this is great. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you fish it. I hope it fishes well for you. Good luck, and please let me know how it goes.